Okay, we are live, Kindness Ambassadors. So excited to be here again for week number 3, Chill Time with Orly. During these hour-long sessions once a week, and they happen various days, various times once a week, it really gives our Kindness Ambassadors, LVI members, anyone that's really interested in joining, it's really open to the public, to come on and ask any questions that they might have of myself, whether it be personal or professional, that life lesson side or not. And really give everybody an opportunity to ask whatever questions they want, as well as have an opportunity to talk about the weekly Kindness Ambassador task. So for those of you that don't know about the Kindness Ambassador program, the Ambassador program started a couple of years ago. We have over 6,000 ambassadors in over 120 countries worldwide, which is so amazing. A group of people from all different backgrounds and races and religions and ethnicities that come together in such an amazing way and really are a tremendous support network for one another, where it's like like-minded individuals that want to make a change within their own personal world, within their professional world, and bring kindness into the world in a really great way. Every week, Kindness Ambassadors receive a weekly kindness task every Monday morning, a short task that takes, potentially 2 to 3 minutes to complete, and with something else that they can take how they can take that act to the next level. And it's really exciting. And plus, all the ambassadors get to connect on our closed Facebook ambassador group, where they're able to share experiences about the weekly task and able to share anything that might be going on in their life. So like I said, it's sort of an amazing, huge support network of individuals that become friends in such an amazing way, showing that regardless of our differences, kindness is the common thread that unites us all. So on this ambassador group, we're able to do things that most people say are impossible to do. And I'm very, very excited to be here with some amazing people in today's session. And I'd like to introduce, what we do every week is we just go through, everybody introduces themselves by saying their name, where they're from, because we have so many different people from different locations, and they also are going to state their biggest brag, something that they're super, super proud of that they were able to accomplish over this week in any sort of way. It could be anything. The purpose of doing this is so that, sometimes we're very, very critical of ourselves, and we only look to the things that we haven't yet accomplished or the tasks we haven't yet achieved. But it's very important to stop within our week and to look back and to reflect and see the things that we have accomplished, the things that we are proud of, and utilize that momentum to propel us forward and to make additional changes, positive changes in the world and within our own life. So that's how we started off here with Life Lesson Side. If you're tuning in and you are not a Kindness Ambassador and you want to take part in this amazing group of people, all you have to do is sign up. It's really easy. It's a simple form on our website at lifevestinside.com/ambassador. So you're a Kindness Ambassador. And you sign up there and you'll start receiving the weekly tasks. And you'll also get an email from our mayor, Jeff Kuski, who's here on the call with us today from Florida, and as well as from our Welcome Counsel, Rosie Hendricks, who's not with us today, but you'll also get an email from her welcoming you into the group. So without further ado, I'd like to get started. I'm not going to be the first one to go. I'll take part being the last one to go. Why don't we get started? Paula, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and share with us your biggest brag for the week. Paula, just don't forget to turn off your mute on your mic. So you want to just click on your mic again.
Yes. Yeah. Hi everyone. Again, my name is Maria Paula Itopocar. I'm from the Philippines, General Santa City. The biggest pride that I can tell you is I'm going to be a second year in college because I finished my first year, and I'm really excited to finish my course. Like I'm in a rush because being a medical student is not that easy. So I need to attend summer classes. I need to study my lessons. I mean sleepless nights, really super. That's all that I can brag, because there's nothing to be bragged about good this week.
Thank you so much, Paula. Jeff, why don't you go next?
Well, I'm Jeff Kuski. I live here in Florida, USA. I guess my brag is I had a friend of mine who had been in the hospital for over a month. He had a stroke, and I received a message from him saying he was coming home today, and that he actually he's not one who communicates a whole lot. So it was really special for me for him to actually just send a quick message to me, and it made me feel really good.
I love that, Jeff. I love that. Why don't you call on the next person that is going to share with us their name, where they're from, and their biggest brag for the week?
Okay, let's go with Helen.
Helen, you just want to make sure you can turn off your mic. Let me know if your mic is, hopefully it's working.
Can you hear me, guys?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you low. Maybe just get a little bit closer to the mic, and then I think we should be able to hear you okay.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all.
I'm too excited about this hangout session. Paula was actually reminding me about this hangout session. I wasn't able to. Yay, I'm here. So hi everybody. I am Helen. I'm from General Santos in the Philippines, and I am very happy to be a part of this hangout session for this week. One thing I can brag about this week. Oh my God, what can I brag about this? Oh yeah, I was able to talk to what was that? Days Foundation. His name was Dimitri, and he was asking me about the possibility of the Philippines joining their global bubble parade for the very first time. And I was hoping to actually ask you guys if you knew about this bubble parade thing. And it was actually really nice, and I was.
So that's actually.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That's a great question. So just to a lot of actually group leaders have been emailing me about this. What happened was, because for Dance for Kindness, we have all the group leaders' contact information up on the website, so that the people that are within your area have the ability to contact you. And Dimitri, I guess, got the list from the website and emailed all the group leaders.
Yeah,
one of the group leaders, Therese, actually from New Jersey, she emailed me and said, do you know anything about this? I hadn't heard anything about it. So I had emailed Dimitri asking him to please connect with me before reaching out to the group leaders, because I don't want you guys to think that it's coming from me, and I don't know about it. So I have not checked into it. I don't know I'm not at all saying anything negative about it, but I don't know anything about the legitimacy of it. So what I did ask Dimitri to do is to have a conversation with me, but I've not heard any response back from him. So what I'm probably going to do, and I'm happy you're bringing this up, I'll send out an email to all the group leaders letting them know that I have heard about this request from several of them, but I've not heard from the organizer yet. And before agreeing to do anything, because my job first and foremost is protect you guys and to make sure that somebody that's reaching out to you is doing so in the proper way. So it wasn't necessarily done in the proper way, to be honest. So what I would recommend.
I was actually a little surprised at first. I was surprised at first because his email indicated, hey Dance for Kindness group leader, and I was like, okay, so he got this information out from our website, and I was like, okay, let me just get back to you on that. And I was telling him, how about the possibility of being able to, I don't know, join together kindness and happiness, because he was talking about global bubble parade being about happiness as the journey, and I was thinking, okay, if that's the case, then wouldn't it be better if we these two together, kindness and happiness? Because if happiness were the journey, then kindness should be the end game, because I mean, I was thinking that way, and that's why I wanted to
100%. No, it makes a lot of sense, and I'm happy that you're bringing up this question. I'm totally happy you're bringing this up. My biggest concern was the fact that when I replied, applauded for what they were doing, and asked to have a conversation before reaching out to the group leaders, because I need to make sure that it's being done, right. I didn't get any response, and I sent a couple of emails. So again, I'm gonna make sure I email all the group leaders to let them know that I know about this, and I will do due diligence to find out before anybody gets further involved, only because I want to make sure that the group leaders are protected. I want to make sure, because it definitely made me realize to be a little bit more mindful or careful with, because I didn't think that someone would go onto the site and just take, that's not how I think. So, but I realized that could become a problem. So I'm happy that a lot of the group leaders did reach out to me and say, I don't know if you know about this, but I wanted to bring it up to you. So that shows that people are, understanding what's going on. So I will make sure that I take care of that. But I'm really happy that you brought that up. And I totally agree, of course. Kindness and happiness are so much in sync with each other. So I will make sure I'm going to take a look into that, and I will let you know as soon as I find out.
So I can still put that in my brag for the week thing, right? Because I was able to get information about it.
100%. Your brag is anything that you want to, that you're super proud that you've done, whatever it might be. That's your brag. So that's awesome. All right.
I have 10. Yeah. Next would be no. Next, who's next? Of course, Bridget.
Hi guys.
Hey, what's going on?
So I'm Birgit. I'm from Estonia still, and I'm at work right now. So if I get lost somewhere, don't mind me. And I don't have a biggest brag of the week, but I do have something in common with one of the guys here. Actually, this is going out to Jeff, who has been struggling with his allergies a lot. So, hi Jeff, let's make a club. Because I'm allergic to basically everything, to food, to pollution, to everything. And this week has been awful for me. I can't stop blowing my nose. I'm sneezing all the time. I look like I have been drinking for 3 days in a row, which I haven't. So yeah, I don't know. My brag for a week goes to allergy medicine.
I love that. Oh, that's classic. I mean, I've also been getting over a bronchitis over the past 3 weeks, which has been really super hard. So I know what it's like to feel super sick. It's not fun and feel super congested. And I always say, it's funny. I was talking to somebody and I said, I forgot what it feels like to feel normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just feel like
I know.
like you're sick. And I said, I think that sometimes us getting sick really is, in a sense, sort of a bittersweet gift, because it makes us a lot more appreciative of the things that we take for granted. How often do we wake up in the morning and we say, wow, I could breathe. Wow, I can walk. Wow, I feel great. We don't realize those things. We take those things very often for granted, the simple things. And only once they're taken from us, and it could be something so the For example, yesterday I was in the city and I was walking far distance and I was in heels and I got a crazy blister. Like the skin from my toe came off. It was so painful. It's so super painful right now. I can't wear shoes. And I was like, oh my goodness. You don't realize how often are you waking up in the morning, you're walking about, you're like, wow, I can walk, I feel no pain. We don't realize it. So I like to always think that sometimes the sicknesses that we come across are just the little inconveniences that come into our life, are in a sense little bittersweet gifts that make us become even more appreciative. That your brag this week is to the medication that's making you feel good.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a very important thing. I always say in the mornings when I wake up, I have my sort of spiritual routine I go through in the mornings, and I there's certain prayers I say, and it's all about saying thank you. Saying thank you for everything. Thank you for this, thank you for that, because very often just the pure act of saying thank you ensures that you will continuously have more reasons to be thankful as you continue about through your day. So that's a really great one. I guess I'm the last person, so I'll go. My name is Orly Wava, the founder of Life Essence Inside, and super proud to be a member of this amazing ambassador group. and from Brooklyn, New York, born and bred. My biggest brag this week, I know I shared, I have a few that I have, so I'm going to think of which one I'd like to share the most. I'm going to say that my biggest brag this week, I'm going to have it actually to do with the book that I'm working on. So I finally, this week, got into a routine of editing. It was not easy. I submitted my book that I'm working on to the publishers in the beginning, or the end of June, excuse me, the end of January, and they came back to me with some edits that I need to work on. There's been so much going on and so much on my plate that it's been super, super, super difficult. But the beginning of this week, I got finally into a routine, like an editing routine. I wasn't able to do it each and every single day, but I'm about one-fourth of the way, really. I'm one-fourth of the way through the editing process. I know that there's still 3/4 to go, so, but at least I got started, and I really enjoy it tremendously. So I'm excited for the week where I could tell you that my brag is that I finished the editing. It's not yet, but I started and I got myself into a routine. So that's my brag, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah. So before we go on, and I'm so happy to hear about everybody's brag. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. If it's any consolation though, Orly, in any book or whatever it is that you're doing, I think it's 1/4 that's very hard to do. Having to have been able to achieve the 100% is the hardest, and the fact that you've been able to do that is, I don't know. I don't even have a word for it.
I really appreciate that, and the truth is,
this part for me.
I really appreciate that, and the truth is, I know I've said this before, but I have to say it again, even if he's going to blush a little bit. I have to thank Jeff, because he's been a huge part, an inspiration behind helping me get there in terms of getting those pages done and getting the first copy, the first edit submitted to the publisher to begin with. Such a huge part has to do with that. So I can't take the credit. I really do want to thank Jeff. But I agree with what you said, Helen. I think that that's very important. The first fourth is always the hardest, because you have to actually begin. And that's why that was a big brag for me, because I kept seeing it as, oh my God, I have so much. What am I going to? I have to just sit down and do it. And at least I got started, and I said, I can't be so critical of myself if I'm not able to do it 100% every day. I can't be doing it every single day. There's so many other things that need to be juggled. But it's actually just starting. That's always the hardest thing, because we procrastinate so much when it comes to just starting something. And that really brings me into this week's task. And I'd love to have the opportunity, to talk about this week's task a little bit, and what it means and what it was. And I'm going to leave off some time at the end also to give you guys an opportunity to ask me any questions, because that's also what this time is about. So for those of you that are tuning in and are not necessarily ambassadors and don't receive the weekly task, first of all, once again, you could sign up at lifebestinside.com/ambassador to become an ambassador. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually share with you what this week's task was. This week's task was titled Hello Friend. And it says as follows: do you have a friend that you've lost touch with? There's someone in your life that seems to be distant. Is there someone that you seem to be missing? The task was to pick up the phone and call them and take a little bit of time to reminisce on all the fun that you had together. Who knows, you can end up, you might be able to rekindle an old friendship or a really amazing friendship and allow it to grow again. And you might find out that they're missing you just as much as you've been missing them. Earlier this week, I put out a video talking about one aspect of me succeeding in this task and one failing. I tried it with a couple of different people, and in one person did not respond, and in the other, I ended up rekindling a friendship, or just actually making plans with someone that I had not made plans with in a long time. What happened for me was, again, like you were saying, Helen, right at the beginning, starting that first the 1/4, beginning the 1/4 is the hardest, happened to be that right after I made that video about what I did, I got off the video, and I picked up my phone and I just started. I got crazy into wanting to call people that I haven't spoken to in a long time. I reached out to the former principal of the school that I used to teach at. Normally, and I actually wrote about him in my book. Normally, him and I only connect on his, not only, but I always call him on his birthday. His birthday is on August 25th. And every single year on August 25th, he gets a phone call from me telling him happy birthday. I said, you know what, I really want to call him because I wrote about him in my book and the impact that he made on my life. And I said, I want to just call him to let him know. So I picked up the phone and I called him, and he was so surprised, like, Orly? I'm like, I know, it's not August 25th, but I'm calling you. And he's like, I'm so happy to hear from you. And we were just connecting, and he told me that a letter that I wrote to him before he left, before he left the school, I wrote him a letter, like a handwritten letter, and sharing the impact that he had in my life. And he said, I want you to know that I still have your letter, and I read it every so often, and it makes me smile. And that really made me smile. And it really touched me, and it was so great to reconnect with him. So I sent him what I wrote about him in my book. So he was the first one, and then there was another person. Literally, I think I maybe called 15 people over the course of that day, and reconnected with so many people, and I found it to be really, really wonderful. So I had a very, very positive experience with the task. But I know that it's very easy in a situation like this to also sometimes have a negative experience, because it's not easy to make a phone call to somebody that we don't necessarily know how they're going to respond to it. Maybe it's somebody that we drifted from, or somebody that may have been hurt by us, or that we felt hurt by. And I'm curious to hear about your experience with this task. What's good about this session, about what we do here, is I want you guys to feel open to share. It's not about us being perfect or us being perfect kindness ambassadors. There's no such thing. It's about being ourselves and really talking about some of the challenges that come with this. Because yes, I'm talking about the fact that this was such a great experience that I had, but it for some of us, it can also go in a different direction and leave us feeling not so great. So I want to open the floor up to hear what you guys have to say and what you guys think. Jeff, I'd like to call on you, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm the one who wrote the task. I can tell you that I did as well. Recently, my friend Willie, he had been quite distant, and it was due to a lot of things going on in his life. And one of them was his brother Chester, who I found out is going home today, had a stroke. This guy is 6 years younger than me, and he's in the hospital with a stroke, which really rattled me. But I didn't know the whole extent of everything, because Willie just shut down, and I kept trying to reach out and reach out and reach out. And finally, I convinced him to come over. We hung out for a while. We watched some basketball, and he kind of opened up to me after a little bit. And, to me that was great, and that was the inspiration for the task. But unfortunately for me as well, very shortly after he opened up to me, he shut down again. And, we had made some commitments to do some things together, and he pretty much just, it's like he just lost my number, he just shut down. And I'm working on trying to figure out what's going on with that. And it's actually something that's very hurtful to me. I'm trying not to take it personally, because I know he has a lot going on in his life. But at the same time, I still feel those emotions. So it's not an easy thing to do. But anything worthwhile isn't easy. and I'm not gonna give up on it because we've been friends for over 10 years, and you know that's something that to me is worth fighting for, worth preserving. So I will, you know, just have to give him a space and let him know that I'll be available anytime. But I may need to back off a little bit myself.
You know, I'm curious to know, has anybody ever had a situation where they put themselves out there and they put themselves out there in kindness and they put their heart out there to try and reach out to somebody or reconnect, but were met with unkindness or were hurt even though they did that? Has anybody gone through an experience like that?
Yeah, I have a few times actually. Or it's always with the same person. And he did it again this weekend. We have been friends like 12 years, I think. And I don't know why, but he keeps on he keeps doing it all the time. And I keep telling him to try better, or if he needs someone to talk to come to me. And he just doesn't. And then he just flips off at me when he's angry at the world. And it really hurts when he does that. But I can't do anything else but to just be there for him if he needs me to, and just back off when he doesn't want me around. So it's really hard to watch someone you care about suffer like that, or to see that he's hurting, but you can't do anything because he won't let you. But sometimes it just goes like that, and you can't do anything, and you just have to be your kind self and wish for him all the best. I think I can't do nothing more. He knows that I'm here if he needs me to, and I'm fine with it if he wants to vent on me, because I know him, and I know he needs someone to vent to when he's angry at things in his life, but it hurts, and sometimes I don't know how to deal with that hurt, because if you're always giving to one person and you don't get anything back, it gets tough over time. And I don't know. I just hope that things will get better for him someday, maybe. And maybe I have a small part of it because I stuck around. That's what I hope.
I think that a lot of people can to relate to that sentiment. Before I say something, I really want to give a chance for others that are on the call to add here, because I think you're touching on something that's really, really important. Sometimes we do give ourselves very much to somebody, but again, what is the point? Where is the boundary? Because there is a difference between being kind and also being a doormat. It's very, very, very. It's a very thin line. It's a very thin line. And we also have emotions as well. So before I say anything, because I don't want to say much right now. I really want to open it up to anyone else. And this is what this is. This is really this is a discussion. This is exactly what we're doing. I want to open it up to anybody else to add their thoughts to what Birgit said.
If anything, to Bridget, you are a very strong woman. You're a very strong woman to be able to endure something like that. I mean, we've all been through, we've all been burned one way or another, but you stuck through, and I am blown away because I am not as strong as you. I tend to give up just right away and just leave it alone. You know, there happened. I think the very first time that I really stuck on to something is with this DFK thing, the Dance for Kindness thing. To be honest, it's the very first thing that I've really stuck through more than just once, you know. And I think it's gonna be something that I'm gonna stick through for for more than, you know, for a very long time. But the thing is, when I started Dance for Kindness here in General Santos, it was really hard because while there were very idealistic people like Paula and the rest of her classmates and friends who believed in the ideals of Dance for Kindness, there were people who were thinking that it was just a ruse to get people to hear me out. You know, there were people who didn't believe in who didn't believe in the ideals as well as those did in the first here in Gensan. The thing is, when I introduced it to other people, they were laughing at me because the thing is, it was really very hard to be able to explain to them how how it goes. You know, it's kindness is a very, you know, even though it's a very simple concept, it's a very hard thing to explain. I'm not it's a very hard thing to explain, even though it's a very simple concept, and it's a thing. And since it's a very simple concept and it's a very basic concept, a lot of people laugh at you for making something so big out of a very simple concept, you know. And the first time I went to this school, I went to a group of people to introduce Dance for Kindness. They really laughed at me and they were telling me, "What is the point of joining you in this event?" And I was like, unlike Bridget, I gave up so easily because as soon as they started laughing at me, as soon as they asked me the question, why should we do it with you? I gave up. I didn't even, you know, I didn't even justify too much. But then I, I got to this group of people, Paula and her friends, you know, I got to this who listened to what I had to say. And despite the fact that I wasn't explaining kindness very well to them, they were so, I was so happy that so many people who believed in this very basic concept of kindness and that we could simply grow it into something bigger. And they really helped me out. There were very few people at first, but the ones who these few people were the ones who really gave me the inspiration to grow it bigger. Because other than my family, no one really believed in me other than Paula, my teacher from way back. And had it not been for them, I really wouldn't have had other people join me in this kind of kindness because I really joined. So Bridget, I tell you, you're such a strong woman, and like you, I give up so easily, and I learned so easily from my very first DFK that I shouldn't have just given up, that I should have just stuck through it, that I should have just, you know, pursued it because I realized I would go with this thing. So I'm very happy to meet you, Bridget, because I'm learning so much from you about sticking through things because I do not have that
Okay,
kind of strength.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second because the first time I did DFK here in Estonia, we Estonians, we are cold people. We are really cold people, and it's really hard to get people to do something like this. And I stuck to it. I had only 20 people, but we did fine. And the next year, I wanted to make like the event bigger, but it actually went smaller. But you can't let that bring you down. You just have to do what you believe in. And every time you have any problems with anything in DFK, just reach out to the group leaders. Everyone is there to help you out. with any questions, or just to like talk to you and give you some advice, or you can just be like three people dancing. It doesn't matter if you are standing up for what you believe in. That's all that matters. And we are all here. The group leaders are all here. You can all.
That's what Orly kept on telling me way back.
I have to say that so many of the things that you guys are talking about, really, I mean, it is definitely, it's all connected. The idea of being able to continue to pursue something even when it's difficult, and that with anything in life, whether it be with a relationship, whether it be with doing something professional in your life, it's easy to give up. The reason is we're so fearful of how others are perceiving us. The reason that people give up easily is because they're so fearful of how others perceiving them, which really means that the thing to work on most, and this is exactly what Life Essence Inside is about. And whenever I always say this, whenever I'm asked to give one word to describe the whole organization, it's not the word kindness. It's not. It's the word empowerment. It's about believing in yourself, empowering people to see their value. Because a leader is exactly that. What is a leader? A leader is somebody that has the strength to stand up when everybody else is sitting down, but also has the courage to keep on standing if no one joins them. That's a leader. And it's not easy, because they're going to be, you're in a sense, you're setting something new into motion. And so people are going to sometimes tell you that you can't, or they're going to laugh at you. But why it's about understanding and getting to the root of why people do that. Why do people act in that way? It's not really having to do with you. It actually has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the fact that they don't think that you can. It has to do with the fact that they don't think that they can. And if a person doesn't think that they can accomplish great things, why in the world would they have the faith and belief that someone else can? It's simply a reflection of something that is lacking within themselves. And so it's hard. That's why it's hard to be a leader. It's hard to do something when no one else is doing it. That's why I always say, people tell me, I have to tell you, the dance for kindness, I always talk about, I talk about dance for kindness, and something I always tell the group leaders, I said, it doesn't make a difference whether your event has 1,000 people or has 2 people. Actually, I applaud the people that do it if they only have the 2 or 3 people, because you know how hard it is to do that? And to say, I'm going to still do this and feel still secure about it. But that's how change happens. Change can only happen if someone takes the first step. Exactly like we were discussing with the task for this week about reaching out to somebody. Why is it scary to make that first phone call, to pick up the phone and make that call to somebody that you've lost touch with? It's because we're so scared. We're so scared that we're going to be embarrassed, or that the feelings aren't going to be reciprocated. But we have to remember, we can't control how another person perceives something. All we can do is our part. The likelihood is that that person is feeling the same way. In this world, we all have insecurities. Even the people that you think are the most secure people, I have insecurities. We all do. It's natural to have insecurity. It's natural to be fearful. It's natural to be scared of putting ourselves out there because we don't know how it's going to be taken. With Life Essence Inside in general, oh my goodness, the amount of discouragement I get so much encouragement from you guys. You guys are like my fuel. You are my fuel that keeps me going with every email, with every ping, with every message. But there's a lot of discouragement that surrounds it. People telling me I'm nuts, I'm crazy, what do you think you're doing? You haven't made any money, how are you living, how are you doing, who you think you're going to change, all the time. But it's about, again, continuously, and this is not, by the way, this is not like I always say this, it's not like a video game that you beat one round and then the next round then you beat the game. The game of life, it's a constant battle. You're always having to struggle to continuously empower yourself to realize your value, and to realize that you can continue pushing forward, and to realize to continue putting that additional foot forward. But it's not easy, because if it was, somebody else would have done it. as a friend of mine once told me. But I have to say, it's definitely something that is challenging. There's something that as you were speaking, again, like I said, I love videos, and as you were talking, it reminded me of a video, and I found it as you were speaking on YouTube, and I want to share my screen to show it to you guys. Okay, so you may have seen this, but this really sort of summed up to me what you kind of just said. Can you guys see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Here we go.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out, you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut, and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers, because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is over-glorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
I gotta say, I think that this is, to me, first of all, based on what you said, Helen, Paula was your first follower who made you believe and believe strongly that you can actually do this, and that's a very, very important thing. Jeff, I would I really like. I look to you as being the reason so much of what happened with Life Us Inside and the Kindness Ambassadors actually came about. But this video, I think it hits on so many amazing, amazing points. That's really how we actually inspire people, is first of all by living what we believe. And it's not easy to live what you believe when you're the only one believing it. But if you continue to live it, and you continue to live your life that way, soon enough other people will learn from it and will want to do the same. And that's with anything, whether it's a movement that you're creating or just in terms of being kind and actually reaching out. So with this week's task, for example, right, it was reaching out to somebody that you haven't spoken to in a while. I can guarantee you that, I know for me, for some of the people that I spoke to, it was definitely a shock when they first heard from me, or and they didn't necessarily know how to react. But who knows? They may have been inspired to then reach out to someone else that they haven't spoken to in a while. It's not easy to make the first step. It's never easy to make the first step, especially when, and like Brigitte, like you were saying, sometimes when we do make that first step, we're not exactly greeted with kindness. And Jeff, you were mentioning as well, and it's hard and it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, but we have to also make sure that at the same time, we value who we are. So we can't let ourselves be trampled on like a doormat. We have to be able to be firm in who we are, but also at the same time understand that another person's reaction to the kindness that we've given to them. So let's say we reach out to somebody, but they respond in anger, or they respond as if they don't care, or that they don't really appreciate us. Sometimes it has less to do with us and more to do with something that's going on in their own life, something to do with them. And sticking by them and letting them know that you're still there, being firm on how they need to treat you, but letting them know that you know that they're better than this and that they must be going through something, and the fact that you're there, and this really ties into a lot what we discussed last week in last week's session. It's extremely important. I want to give you guys just a chance to say some final words, because I know that we're coming to the end of our session here, but I want to turn it over to you guys and to hear your reactions. Oh, if you're going to speak, just turn your mic off of mute so we could hear you.
Well, now I have a commercial inside my head going on. It's for the candy bar, Almond Joy. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. But as I typed in, yeah, Orly, you're a nut. You're definitely a nut.
Proud of it. Proud of it. Jeff, can you maybe? I know that we don't usually do this because we're really sending out the task tomorrow. But I know that what we spoke about ties into a little bit this coming week's task. Would you like to just touch on what this week's task is?
Give me 1 second, okay? Let me pull it up. I want to be able to actually read it.
100%. And the task goes out tomorrow morning. So if anybody's tuning in and wants to sign up to become an ambassador, you could sign up easily at lifeessinside.com/ambassador, and you'll get our first email that's going to be going out tomorrow with Jeff's weekly Kindness Ambassador task of the week.
Make the first step. Sign as an ambassador.
That is the first step. That is the 1/4. You have to go the 1/4 is to actually sign up, and things move from there.
You'll never go wrong doing the first 4th. Signing up.
Well, the task of the week it was something I was reflecting on earlier this week. When my mother passed away, I was doing a lot of soul searching and doing a lot of thinking. And one of the things I was thinking about were the people who made a huge impact in my life. And this is something that Orly knows. It's not something I talk about a lot. When I was in school, I struggled a lot with reading. My brain inverts numbers and letters, and it mixes up words, so it can be really hard for me to read. And when I was younger, I would get very frustrated with it, so I'd just give up. And then I had a teacher kind of come into my life, and she took the time to really work with me one-on-one, and taught me to slow down, taught me to go at my own pace. It wasn't a race. And she made a huge impact on, my love of books and my love of reading. And that was something that I was remembering, and I thought I should just give her a call. And I called her up, and I hadn't seen her in probably 6 or 7 years. And she was very surprised, but we talked about things, and at the end of our conversation, she told me, Jeff, I was going to retire at the end of this year, but your conversation has given me the strength to teach one more. So the task of the week is to thank somebody who's had a very profound and positive impact in your life. It can be a phone call, it can be a text, or even better, it can be a written letter, because a handwritten letter is something that you can keep for a long time. And just like Orly was talking about, this is something that they're at a down point in their life. They can open this letter up and be inspired. And, you have no idea how much of an impact somebody, that you make on somebody until they tell you. Miss Berry had no idea. And when I told her, that was the motivation and the encouragement that she needed to keep doing what she was doing. I think we all need to be recognized for what we do, but we also need to recognize those in our lives that have really touched us.
And I can tell you, as a former teacher, but I still consider myself a teacher, that letters really do make the biggest difference. I've had books of letters from my students, and from kindness ambassadors that send me messages from around the world. I mean, this is just one pile that I leave literally right next to my desk. This is what I hold on to, because it is what keeps me going when I'm feeling like, how am I going to be able to get through, or things are really, really tough. So I think that it ties in so beautifully with last week's task. Sometimes reaching out to people that we haven't spoken to in a while, just a few words. You never know what's going to come from it. You never know how it's going to maybe touch another person, or maybe they're going through something, and even though you haven't spoken in a long time, they feel that they can, confide in you. So I'm excited for this week's task. And it's funny that's this week's. I'm in the middle of writing a letter for part of Kindness Madness, which we're starting this week. One of my tasks is to write a handwritten letter to somebody that's made a difference to me. And I have the letter here. It's for my grandma, my Nana. And I'm going to be finishing writing it today, and I'm going to go and deliver it to her myself. So I'm excited. I didn't even know that was going to be this week's task, Jeff. Look at me. Come on now. I'm super excited. I'm so grateful that you guys took the time to come onto the call. I think we spoke about a lot of really important things, just in terms of being able to reach out, in terms of being able to believe in ourselves, even when other people are not necessarily believing in us, to see things through till the very end. And also to not necessarily give up on people so easily, while at the same time recognizing and understanding the importance of being kind to ourselves and sticking up for ourselves, which I think is very important. I mean, we could talk about this for hours and hours. But before we go, I just want to always open up the floor. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask at all, I want you guys to feel free to ask me any question whatsoever. I will answer. So I'm going to leave just the last couple of minutes for that. And then we will have next week's session. I'll send a message out when it's going to be. I'm not sure yet. But thank you so much for joining. Any questions? The floor is yours. You don't have to have a question, but if you do, I'm happy to answer it. So just know, I'll be here again next week, and I'll always be here. So I want you guys to know that I'm very much accessible. I'm not unreachable. If there's anything that you want to talk about, even in your own life, or you just want advice on, or you just want to vent to somebody, like, I'm here. I care so much. I really love you guys. This is what makes me so happy. It gives me all of my energy, and I don't know how to describe how grateful I am to have this opportunity to be connecting with so many amazing people. I have like tears in my eyes, but really, it's the truth. So I appreciate this opportunity so much for you opening your hearts to me. It means more than you know.
Well, thank you, and then I can attest to what you just said, because we communicate pretty regularly. It can be Life Lesson Side related, or it can be personal. She is definitely somebody who really does care. She wouldn't be doing this for as long as she had if she didn't. And I have to tell you, Orly, check your mail tomorrow.
Okay. Well, you check your mail too. All right? Because I got something coming out over there. But thank you guys again so much. And it's funny also about what this week's task is. Just last thing I want to say. You know, on Friday, I sent out an email. Right now, Life Has Inside has a huge opportunity through the Kind Foundation. They're teaming up with Ellen. They're offering this crazy grant to someone who is dedicating their life to spreading kindness. And I sent out a message, and I know so many of you guys have already replied to me, which I really appreciate. I didn't know if I was going to get any responses or what. Like, I really didn't know, because I know that it takes time. It's not like a nomination form that is, 2 seconds long. It takes like maybe 10 minutes to actually fill out the answers. And if anybody's interested in going to the nomination process, you could do it at lifevestinside.com/Ellen, ELLEN, and you can fill out the form there through the Kind Foundation. I received literally, I can't tell you how many emails back. I mean, minimum, I think it was about 250 emails, and I'm still responding to them. I was so beyond touched from people sharing how I and how the organization have impacted them. It's really something. I'm very much taken aback. So I could tell you that this week's task of sending a message and a letter out to somebody will most definitely impact their life, because I feel like I'm on cloud 9 right now. I just keep wanting to print. I always star emails that really mean a lot to me, and like I'm starring everything. I don't even know what I'm going to do. It's like crazy. So I just wanted to end off with that, and I want to thank you guys again for believing so much in me and believing so much in the organization, and believing, and most importantly, what we really need to do is believe so much in ourselves. So please, over this week, when you're having those doubts in your head about who you are, remember that without you, the puzzle is just not complete. The world is not complete, because if you weren't here, something would be missing. The fact that you are here is proof that there's something that you can do that no one else can do in this world. Whatever it may be, you might think it's really small, but it means that you have a purpose that nobody else can fulfill but you. And you don't have to be the smartest or the wealthiest or the most popular person to do it. You just have to be you. And when you enter into a room, you do impact people. So continue being you, continue smiling from the inside out, and continue making a difference in this world. Guys, I thank you so much for letting me be part of your life. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.